Okay, I gotta say got it, I guess.
We are going to talk about junk journals this time. And I have two people that I'm interviewing about junk journals. And one of them is Carla Howell, and she is a happy bookmaker. And Carla was a graphic designer, if I got that right,
Interior designer.
interior designer,
Yes.
and somehow found her way to um, junk journals. And what I liked very much about her was that she gave an incredible description about how to put together very slowly, step by step, a long but very useful um, YouTube video on putting together and sewing a junk journal. A book, it doesn't have to be a junk journal. So now, Carla, take it away.
Okay, well, thank you so much. That's really nice of you to say. It was a really long video. I was a little concerned, but for some reason it took off, and I'm thrilled about it. But I had, yeah, I've been an interior designer since 1996, but late, or I should say early in the 2000s, I played around with altered books. And I was actually in an altered book club where we would have the book for a couple of weeks and do a layout, like an artistic layout. So maybe more of an art journal kind of altered book. And then we'd send it on to the next person and it would make the rounds. And I just fell in love with it. And then when I did that for a little while until the organizer decided she didn't want to do it anymore, and she took the book and kept it, and we were all devastated. But I loved it so much. I loved the artistic outlet because even as a designer, I do kind of technical things, so I still need that artistic outlet, you know. So I didn't really do anything like that until recently then, and that, like I said, that was in the early 2000s. And I thought, I'm kind of getting ready for retirement, and thought, I'd like to kind of get back into that because I loved it so much. And so I started looking, how you Google, how do I learn how to do an altered book, because it had been so long I couldn't remember like the construction parts of it. So I started Googling, and YouTube videos came up, and that's how I found Kelly from Book and Paper Arts and Pam from the Paper Outpost. And they were kind of they didn't know it, but they were my mentors, and reminded me, first of all, how to do an altered book. But then I didn't know what a junk journal was. I was like, what is the purpose of this thing? I don't know. It's just like putting a bunch of fun stuff in a book. And but after a while, I was like, okay, I get it. It's just for fun. It doesn't have to be anything in particular. So anyway, from wanting to learn about or remember how to do altered books, I learned about junk journals. And then from Kelly, I also learned about art journals because I really didn't know what that was. I was a scrapbooker for many, many years. So I don't know, I just kind of fell into it. It was probably about a year ago when I started again. And
Well,
then,
Matteo and I were talking about this when I interviewed him, and I will let him talk about it more, but I want to give a prompt about it. Why everything vintage? Why what's the like your French flower journal?
mhm.
And you're very good. You use the brush like your brush to vintage the pages, almost like a makeup on your cheek or something, very slowly. But what's the fascination? Would you agree with this, Matteo? The fascination
I do.
with
I absolutely do agree with it.
what is the fascination with the vintage, make it look vintage?
I think that
Uh,
there's Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, I am sorry. Sorry. Please, go on, go on.
Okay. Well, I mean, for me, there's just a charm of the vintage, and like what is that? Just remembering of the old times, and I mean, maybe things weren't always so great in the old days, but we like to think that they were, right? And so it's just that old timey charm, and I've never really been into anything really modern, even in interior design. I'm more of a, you won't believe this, country French lover. I love country French. And so, I've never really been into the modern. So when I learned about inking and how to take a new digital print and make it look old, like the postcards, I just like, I could just sit and do that all day, you know. So I don't know what it is. It's a nostalgia thing. It kind of makes you feel, I don't know, homey and warm, I guess. It does for me anyway.
So Matteo, you were going to say something about that, or?
I was just about to say more or less the same thing, and I think that the vintage look gives something romantic about a book. It gives more interest. It would be to allow me the word easy to make a book with white pages without adding some charm or romanticism or age to it. So I do agree that the vintage look is very captivating.
I agree.
Okay. So what would you, okay, I've got to dig a little deeper. What is the fascination? There are lots of people making junk journals. I mean, I'm trying to pick two people. I mean, there's tons of them, but uh, why I pick you and there's another woman named Pat who actually does a junk journal. In other words, she takes junk and she turns it into a journal. And there is no question that she does it. And there's Francesca, who I would love to interview, but she's not comfortable with her English. And she does it like junk journal, but things she saved, like chocolate,
Oh,
a cover of a chocolate thing that she got.
that's
And
cool.
she does it in a sentimental way.
Mm.
But Pat does it for real. Like, this is junk and this is what I'm doing. But that's not what you're not necessarily. What you're doing is explaining junk journals. Like, you are really making the journal from scratch and showing how it's done. And I think that's very helpful for new or beginning creators of junk journal. But talk to me more about it. Both of you talk to me more about it.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, I was new to junk journals. So at first I was like, I don't really know what they're for, except just to stick a bunch of fun stuff in a book. And so I started with, it was called Turquoise and, what was it called? Turquoise and Gold. And it did sell on my Etsy shop, but it was an altered book, which I made into a junk journal. And I learned a lot during that process. And I do have my personal style might be less junk and a little more I'm a little more of a planner, so I kind of have to plan them out. And I think my style might be a little more art journal-y. Somebody told me that once, and I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's my style. And I would love actually to really let loose and do a junk journal, something that's really junky. And I actually have a video coming out next week where I've done a book completely made from scraps. So that's probably as close as I'm going to get right now to a junky junk journal, which I love the idea of. I just like, I have to plan it out, so that's that part of my personality. But I think I lost the question. What was the question?
No, no, but you've already done scraps, part one and part two of scraps.
Right, but there's a third one. There's a third one where I'm going to decorate that book, and that's coming out next Friday. all with scraps. So the whole thing is scraps. And then I'm
But
going to give.
here's the thing. I love the Harlequin design on the scrapbook.
Mhm.
That's where it becomes an art journal, because that Harlequin design is a very classic design.
Mhm.
And you had taken scraps and made an envelope out of it
Yeah.
with the Harlequin design. And I like that. And then the other thing I like is stickers. And you use those little flower blue stickers and white
Yeah.
stickers and stuff. And I love that. I am fascinated by stickers. So
Me too.
I'm not giving Matteo a chance here. Jump in,
I'm
Matteo.
sorry.
Not into stickers, sorry.
But you don't really do, Matteo, like a junk journal kind of thing. Yours is very refined. You use gold flakes and
I tried
Oh.
to make junk journals. I also had the chance to sell them. But before she said something very interesting because she said, I don't know what the junk journals were for. What was their purpose? And the question can be applied to many different things. For example, if you talk about art in general, what is the purpose of art? Is to make something beautiful, is to express what you're feeling in that very moment. So you don't need to be a painter to talk about art. You don't need to be a sculptor. You just have to take what you have on the table or what you want to buy because you like it, put it together and make your own piece of art. And to me, like I was mentioning before, junk journals have a huge amount of beauty in them, even because when you actually have the chance to go through a junk journal, you see how the creator put the pieces together to create what in her mind was beauty and was beautiful together. But like I said in our previous interview, what is important for me is that some room is left for someone to write in it. And because it has to be um, customized. And you make the junk journals with your beauty. I fall in love with it. I buy it. And then I write down my thoughts, my secrets, my stories, whatever. And here comes the other part about over decorating things, because I see many beautiful, beautiful junk journals. You flip through them, and if you want to just write your name, you wonder, where am I going to write it? Because it's super decorated. But anyway, it doesn't have to have a purpose. It's just art, it's just beauty, it makes us happy, and that's what we do.
Oh, I love that.
see, this is why we have Matteo.
I see, I get it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it as something that how should I say? I'm looking at it from more an art historical analytic point. For me, most of it is women who have children. Sometimes the children are talking in the background,
Yeah.
they want to paint, they want to Marta of
Make art.
a small arts or something like that.
Martha makes
Uh,
art.
yeah,
Yeah.
Marta, she's a designer who gave that up and makes not junk journal, art journals, junk journals and stuff like that. But Marta will have her daughter there, and I'm very interested in women's issues. So to me, it's fascinating how women have gotten this medium that they can do at home, and that their children are talking in the background. What Mary May Small Arts, that's
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
Marta.
Okay.
And she will say something like, my daughter is talking in the back, and the daughter will are supposed to be with her father, but she wants to do what mommy's doing. And I so I'm very interested in that issue of it. Now I also did journals where a guy, my guys, the guys that I chose for that journaling, showed what journaling means to them, which is books that are empty, that they write in, and that they turn around and write the other way. But they're talking about very traditional journaling. This is not very traditional journaling.
Mhm.
And what I like about Matteo is that his is not traditional junk journaling either. And it's very beautiful. I mean, it's very, he uses like AI to make these beautiful botanicals, which I have seen in person. And those are really, yeah, they might not print like a high class printing house that is making prints, but it's beautiful. And that, anyway, so that's where
I have to
I'm
check
coming
these out.
from. What?
I have to check these out now about
Oh,
Mateo's work. I have to
Matteo?
check
Oh,
it
definitely, definitely.
out.
I will subscribe to your channel because I am watching it right now, and there are so
Oh.
many things that are catching my eye right now.
Oh, good. Yay. I
And
love
the
that.
other thing is there's no possession about it. Like this is mine.
Right.
This all belongs only to me,
Mhm.
The junk journaler and the journalers that are doing this on YouTube or altar designers or art journaling or whatever, they're open to you or me or anybody else saying, take this, and I mean, I am hoping that everybody does their own unique thing, and most 99% of the time they do.
Mhm.
I was really impressed how slowly you put together that junk journal, the French journal, the toile. Um, étoile. Well, I'm not good with French, so
Oh, it's just red toile.
red toile,
Yeah.
red flowers,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well, actually, toile de jus is a fabric pattern, or it's not just a fabric pattern, but it is a pattern like a country farmhouse French pattern, and it's called toile de jus. And so, I guess I became obsessed with it, like as a
When you
design
got your
in design
curtains,
school.
and you got a lot of it for your curtains.
I have some for curtains. I have I have stuff. I have toile all over the place, pillows, and yeah. So I'm still kind of obsessed with it.
Could you please tell me the brand of it again? Toile?
Toile, the word, when I say toile, it's actually toile de jus. So toile of Joy, France it's a pattern, and it's like a country French, um, I'm going to say kind of a farmhouse pattern, but it's like old vintage French people. It's like people and animals and buildings. So it scenes. Do I have anything in here to show you? I don't. I'm like looking
No,
to see if I
I
have
was just
something.
wondering about the name because when you said toile, well, it means fabric. So
Right.
toile de jour is
From
like
yeah.
fabric of the day or something like that.
I might not be saying it right, but it originated from Joy, France. I may not be saying that right either.
Okay,
So
okay.
I may not have the accent proper, but then also like there's papers with that kind of, so now we just call it toile, so there's yellow toile, pink toile, red toile, black toile. I'm going to do a black toile next, a French France and Flowers black toile, which I'm thinking of having completely all black and white on the interior. So that I got a plan for that. But so, it's just a pattern is what it is. A
Okay.
French pattern.
Hmm. Anyway, fascinating.
It
Matteo,
really
do
is,
you?
but my question, I would like to make a question about the before process. And because I do have a problem in planning things because I always have a perfect and precise
Mhm.
project in my mind, but during the process of making the thing, it goes to another direction, and I try to go back to where I wanted to go. But then it seems like the books and the junk journals sometimes have their own lives, and they decide what they want to be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was wondering, what is your initial thought compared to what you actually come up with at the end of the process?
Yeah. So I always have, I don't really write it down necessarily or anything like that, but I do have, I have pictures in my mind. And sometimes I'm not going to say I meditate, but and during quiet times, I'll get ideas and I'll plan it out in my mind. It doesn't always go to plan, but that's art. That's art,
Yeah.
that's design. That's the way it happens. And then you have to go with the flow. And especially when you are doing a video and it doesn't go to plan, what are you going to do? Now I've learned to edit, so I can kind of like cut parts out. But like in my first ones, when I couldn't edit, it's like, well, this is how it turned out. I like it. It's okay. Because it doesn't have to be anything, right? It doesn't have to be even that thought you had in your mind. That's just a starting point. And but so you get started and other ideas come into your head. And so I let that happen. I don't know that anything has turned out exactly the way I planned, but it's a very good representation. Let's put it like
Well, that's very
that of what I had in my
consoling.
mind.
That's very consoling to hear that it happens all the time.
Yeah, I'm not that controlling that I'm just like, no, it's not exactly what's in here. I got to stop. Because and sometimes you'll come up with a better idea during the process,
Hmm.
So you just got to go with it.
So what do you
Yes.
think the future of this is?
I'm not sure if you're asking me, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm new to it, but I think it's been around for a while. I've only been junk journaling for about a year. So, I mean, I think it can go on as long as, you know, people stay interested in it. And I think what's great about it is you can do it at home, you can do it in your basement, in your craft room. It doesn't cost a lot. You don't have to spend you can spend hardly any money doing it. I used a lot of my supplies were my old scrapbook supplies and old fabrics when I covered a chair or whatever it was, because it's supposed to be junk, right? And you can find free images. And so for people that have limited budgets, I think that junk journaling is a great way to go. You don't have to spend any money. So, but then, everything kind of has a fad, right? And scrapbooking, when I was really into it, I don't know, do people even scrapbook anymore? At some point I stopped because I had about maybe 50 scrapbooks. And I was like, and they're just sitting in boxes at this point. And so, then you kind of move on to something else. But um, as long as it's accessible to anybody that wants to do it and it doesn't cost a lot of money, I'm sure some people put a lot of money into theirs, but I don't.
Do you think your scrapbooks, you would do something with them, like bring them into your art journal, or do you want to leave them the way they are intact? Is there any
Oh,
way you could reform your scrapbooks?
oh my gosh, I don't think I have the energy. I think it take me way too long. And actually, when I was doing scrapbooking, I did very artistic kind of layouts. Not in the beginning. In the beginning, you're like, oh, that's so cool. I have a sticker on a page with some pictures. But as I got along, I started doing the two-page layouts, and they were very much like my style in junk journaling and art journaling. So they're kind of like that now, but like I said, and then you have boxes of photos and you're like, oh, what am I going to do with all these photos? It's kind of overwhelming. So it's still an art form. I'm sure a lot of people are doing it. But at some point I was like, I have enough. And now we have digital photos and I can just look like that. So even though I loved it, I have tons of supplies still from that time. I can use them, for the journals. So
What about the market? the market of this junk journaling? What about, do you want a business out of it, or is it just for fun, or what?
Well, I personally, I do have an Etsy shop, and it's of the same name, The Happy Bookmaker, where I have junk journals. I have some of my art, some paintings. I have all kinds of art and book arts on my Etsy shop, in my Etsy shop. So part of the reason I started the channel was to maybe, get a little interest in my shop. It hasn't really done that a lot, but but the idea is I'm having fun. And if you have fun, good things will come from that. So yeah, I would love to sell all of my junk journals that I have in my shop. That'd be great. I've sold a few, but I don't think it's anything that you're going to get, that you're going to make a living on, sort of. But I thought, as I get closer to retirement, if I can, make a few extra bucks a month selling a junk journal or a piece of art or something, that would be great for me. So, but it's not like the main focus of it. I just think it's fun. It's just super fun.
Totally agree. Same thing
Mhm.
here. I have my Etsy shop. Now I am not forgetting about it, but I am letting it go. When listings will expire, I will let them go. And I have books, I have digitals, I have many porcelains, I have many different stuff, but as long as it makes me happy, I'll keep doing it.
Yeah.
I'll keep doing it. If you're doing it only for the money because you want to become famous or because you want to make your own brand of something, I think that unlike we said before, you're going to need a lot of funds to start this kind of business. But if you just have fun with what you have and you end up with something that to you is beautiful and that other people find fascinating, that's amazing. It really is.
Mhm. Etsy is a tough animal too.
Mm-mm.
What do you mean? What do you
Yeah.
mean by that?
It is really hard to get traffic on Etsy, and I had started an Etsy shop years ago as well with handmade soaps and artwork and did no artwork and selling digital prints and stuff like that. Is zero snake eye sales. So I kind of gave it up, and I basically just remastered that shop, or made it into the Happy Bookmaker. So I do have some followers, and I've sold a few things, and that makes me really happy because it makes me feel like, yeah, this stuff is good. Even though I think it's good, it does mean something if other people like what you're doing. It does, you know so but again, that's, I am not going to make a living off of my Etsy shop at all. But it sure is fun to put something on there and get somebody to favorite it, or and once in a while sell something. So yeah.
Yes, so true. So true. And the strange thing, well, strange to me, is that Etsy, if you when you start to let it go because you're more focused on having fun, it seems like Etsy comes back to you and say, do more, show yourself more, be more
Yeah.
out there, and they
Yeah.
invite you to overdo things. And sometimes that's not what you want to do, and you have to take a step back, which is actually what I am doing, and say, no, I'm doing it for myself. And for the first time, I have made a book for myself and
Yeah.
never going to be sold. I have already started journaling in it, and that's it. Not everything we do is supposed to be sold or to go on Etsy.
Right.
I do have a lot of stuff that were unsold and that I give to people or to friends or relatives because I know that it makes them happy. I know it's something that
Mhm.
100% comes from me because I made it, because I created it. So there is everything we do is precious because it is one of a kind, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah. And everybody loves something handmade as a gift. Everybody loves that.
As a gift, they do.
As a gift, yes. Yeah.
when, when it comes to paying the price for handmade stuff,
Yeah.
people don't like it very much.
And
But
then not
anyway,
so much. Yeah. I agree.
Okay, Matteo, what is that fish, that lovely fish you're wearing with butterfly
oh,
fins?
this is a t-shirt that I was gifted 2 days ago because it was my birthday.
Oh,
And this
happy
is
birthday.
actually, thank you. And this is actually an artwork from an Italian artist whose name is Otto Dambra, who uses these vintage illustrations to make his own artworks. And now he's a tattoo artist who works in London and Milan. And today, it's strange that you saw this t-shirt and you asked me about it, because today I made myself a gift because I had the chance to buy some of his original artwork a long time ago. And today I went out and I bought a frame, and I was just in the process of framing one of his original
Oh,
artworks that I had the chance to buy.
oh.
And to me, he is I mean, to me, he is an absolute genius, and I love everything he does, and I would buy everything he does. And and I was gifted 2 t-shirts, and this is basically a fish mixed with a butterfly wing. And those are original vintage illustrations that he puts together, reworks them, and he comes up with this kind of thing. I'm glad you noticed it. I'm very fond of it.
Well, you know, I noticed it on Facebook and I thought if he wears that, I'm
Oh,
going to ask. He
oh,
probably
that's
hasn't
true.
taken it. Probably hasn't taken it off since he got it, but that's all right.
Yes, kind of, kind of,
Kind of true, Matteo.
kind of true. Yes, yes. I am He's totally in love with his artist, and every time I see his works, whether they are a tattoo or hand designed drawing like this, I just go crazy. I get really emotional. I don't know why. It calls me. I love it. I love it. And that's it. And that's the
And
beauty
see,
of
it's
art.
vintage. It's vintage, Matteo. It's
Yeah,
vintage.
I should tea-dye it probably to make it even
No,
more
no,
vintage.
no. Leave it
I want,
alone.
I want.
Anyway, this is lovely. And Carla, I will put links to your Facebook page, not Facebook, I'm sorry, your YouTube links, especially the journal, the 12, whatever.
Thank you so
And
much. Thank you.
and I will put them down there because I think people need to see how carefully you put together the journal, and they need and I hope they will appreciate it. And it's a very important process in putting together. I've seen lots of people put together things, and every person, like when Book and Paper Arts, when I interviewed a Kelly of Book and Paper Arts, she had hardly any following at all. But I'm very fortunate. I have no following, but the people that I picked have grown. Like
Oh,
Kelly had 10,000 people that subscribed to her.
wow.
And I said, Kelly, congratulations. When I interviewed Kelly, and I didn't know how to interview. I mean, I didn't know how to do Zoom really well. So I'm seeing from you, when I first started watching, there were 400 people or 40
Yeah.
people, they were small. Now it's up to 1,000. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm very lucky in that way that the people that I picked, and all they're hand selected, not for how many people come to their YouTube channel, but because I think they have something to offer.
Oh,
Like Kelly did a digital on Etsy that I bought the digital, and the digital that she did actually her journal. Like one of there was a digital of a journal she made, and when you see it, unfortunately I had a problem. I made PDFs and our printer didn't print PDFs at the university where I work. So but I saw them for the first time up close,
in real, yeah, real life, yeah.
and it makes a real difference. Like I saw Matteo sent me, and I was so delighted. I ripped it open. Some beautiful flowers that he had manipulated and stuff like that. So, but if you get a chance, if you like Kelly puts together packets of French ephemera
I
that
bought
are
them.
real. Yeah,
I
that
have
are
bought them.
real.
Yeah.
That are real. I mean, she gets
Yeah.
them. But if you
Yeah.
get a chance to get that digital of her journal,
Mm-hmm.
look at it. I think you'll be amazed.
Yeah.
It now to me that's art journaling.
Mm-hmm.
There is no question about it. There is
Yeah.
no junk.
Right.
To me, Mateo's flowers are art, and to me, you're putting together and sewing his book art.
Thank you.
And that you put together these things and people can see them is very good. I really appreciate your agreeing to interview with me, both of you. And Matteo and I are going to do Pat Catucci, and I think that's her name, but I will isn't it Catucci or something like that? Anyway,
Cantucci?
Catucci, maybe.
Mm, I don't know.
I don't either. I have to track it down. Her
You'll
mother
figure it
died.
out.
I will. Her mother died. So she
Oh,
was. So
Oh,
I hope you watch her. And hers is a real junk journal. I mean, we are talking, there's no mincing of words there.
mhm.
It's a real thing that she does with journals. And I wish Francesca would agree to do. She just says she does voiceovers because her English is so bad.
oh,
But she does, and she does the other kind of junk journal. Like I save, you know how we all save things,
yeah.
and then we save them for years, and I like that aspect of it too. Like I got this box of chocolate and I'm using it, you know. Anyway, thank you very much. Matteo, do you have anything to add?
Yes, I would like to ask to add one very important thing that you brought up before, because you were talking about junk journaling and women. And the last thing that I did was inspired by a TV show that I saw, whose title is The Lost Flowers of Alice Hart. And first of all, my suggestion is to watch that program because it is amazing. It talks about women, their struggles, what they have to go through, and their connection with beauty and how women communicate between themselves. And I just want to steal just a couple of seconds because in this program, women communicate with each other using flowers, and they have a book that tells them the meaning of flowers. And this book is very old because it was made years back and it went from generation to generation.
Yeah, I'm sorry to
So
interrupt real quick. My battery's about to die. So if I disappear, I just want to say It's blinking. Thank you so much. I loved meeting you both. So I just want
Thank
to
Well,
you.
thank
hang
you.
in
And
there, Carla,
okay,
until it dies.
I will. I just wanted to
Okay.
let you know before. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. And I have made this, the latest book that I made was inspired by this TV show. So I made my own black and white botanical digitals, and I have made a book out of them. And this book is really dedicated to women, to their beauty, to their power. And once again, if you haven't seen that program, watch it because it's absolutely amazing. It really
Beautiful.
is.
That's beautiful, Matteo.
And
Yes. Thank you.
Carla, friend us on Facebook if you're on Facebook.
Oh, sure. Oh, I
Yes,
am.
please.
Friend
Yes,
us,
please.
please.
Absolutely.
Matteo, Samuel, Spini,
That's
and
it.
how do we find, and Pinterest. I'm a big fabric Pinterest fan. And it was wonderful and charming talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank
You
you.
can
Thank you.
you can turn it off, and that way you won't have to disappear.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Lovely to meet you.
Ciao.
Ciao,
Bye.
ciao.
Bye.
I'm gonna shut off the recording.